viewers, again, my name is Chris Omalo, and I'm the host for this show. In this show, like I always keep on repeating, we talk to different Kenyans living here in the US, in other parts of the world, generally Kenyans living abroad. And we examine some of the successes that they've gone through, the groundbreaking things that they're making, you know, the involvement in back at home in building our nation, but also in life generally abroad. For our viewers in Kenya, most of you have friends abroad or relatives, and it's just only fair that, you know, we give you a sense of how life is in the diaspora. And today I have the privilege of talking to Pauline Kamanja. This is the second time I'm speaking to Pauline. I did an interview with Pauline almost 10 years ago.
Yes.
And that time she was preparing to move back at home. Most Kenyans living abroad live in two worlds. The world they live in, wherever it is, Canada, the US, Nigeria, the UK, and the world that they left back at home. Many Kenyans abroad are as Kenyans are ever. In fact, you know, somebody has said that they only discover their patriotism towards their country when they move away from home. So today, I'm privileged to talk to Pauline again. Pauline left the US, left her job, part of her family here, and went back home because she was running a charity, and by then she was very deeply involved in community work. She wanted to, for a long time, they were supporting projects in Kitui, which is generally Cumberland.
Yeah.
So, because it was taking so much of her time and resources, she had decided to go back at home. So she went home, and I'm sure you're curious as much as I am to see just how it's been, because she's back here now. She's back in the US, and she settled back in Washington State. Pauline, that's a long introduction, but like I said, it's my pleasure to speak to you again. Please just introduce yourself to our viewers and tell them where we are as it is now with your life.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for promoting us, and also especially I remember we did an interview before I went back to Kenya. I had lived in this country for about 12 years, and the call of God, the call to give back to the community, made me go back to Kenya. We were doing missions, which we continue doing up to now, different parts of Kenya in the remote areas. We do medical missions, but apart from that, I had started, which is still going on, the street family in Ruiru, Kenya. And so I packed my bags and went to give back to my community, that community that raised me, and the compassion to the poor. And so I went to the street of Ruiru, Kenya, and raised the children, the street children, and worked with them. And I also had a little business to support me while I was still in Kenya. But there's a challenge when you come from here, from the United States, because everybody thinks that you have come with money. They think you have all the money, that's why you have decided to go. And so everybody wants a portion of you. Even those that are doing so well, they still think you're doing better than them, which is not the right thing. It's because when we have compassion for our country, it's not because we have money. It is the heart and the love of the country and the patriotism of our country. So we love our country so much, and I thank God that in all these things, the reason, the compassion, it is God who has put in me. Because even before I left Kenya to come to the US, I was moving and preaching the gospel and reaching out to the poor in the uttermost of Ukambani, where there were no roads, deep inside in a Makueni district, and also in Mwingi. I was moving around in the country and giving to the poor, even if I didn't have anything. So that is my story, and I thank God that I'm back here in Washington State. That's where I am right now, because when I went to Kenya and everybody wanted everything I had, I gave all the money, I gave everything I had, I became broke. So I had to come and start working again so that I can support the projects that I have been working on. And so this is my story.
Pauline, it's actually an enduring challenge for Kenyans living away at home. Mm-hmm. Many people want to give back to the community. I know very many Kenyans, especially here in the US and Canada, who are involved. In fact, almost every Kenyan church here in the US supports some form of community project back at home.
Yes.
And they do this because of they want to give to the community, like you said, the communities that made them who they are in the first place.
Yes.
But over time, they've complained that there seemed to be a misunderstanding from people back at home in the way Kenyans abroad are involved in their charity.
Yeah.
One, there's a feeling that when you give back to the community, then you have surplus. You have more than you need.
Yes.
So when people back at home expect so much, I've heard this from everywhere I've been, and for some reasons it become a hindrance. Because I remember even in our church at some point we were arguing about even our contact people back at home, the people we work with. Most of us work through pastors and stuff. Even the pastors, when you go there to give to the community, they want you to pay them to do the work. It's an issue. We'll speak about that at large, but let's come back to this issue of, Kenyans living away from home, waking up one day and deciding to go back at home. You've done that.
Yes.
You understand it so well.
Yes.
So what, first, is that a wise move? And two, what are the challenges that one experiences when one moves back at home after living away from home for, like for you in your case, 12 years?
Yes. The challenges we face is that your family, your friends, everybody who knows you, they expect you to give them money. They think you have so much money, that's why you have decided to come. And even as you are talking about the people you work with, we give ourselves. When we go for missions, we are not paid. It is our own money. We give our own money. We support with our own money, and we raise funds, $20, $10 from our community, and we go. But the people that we are working with, the doctors, the nurses, the frontiers, every person who is working with you, they expect you to pay them. This is the most challenging thing that I have found. And you have to give them money, and as much as you keep telling them you're giving yourself and you expect them to give themselves, they still need you to pay them, even when they are doing well, even when they are not lacking. This is one of the challenges. The other challenge is when you go to Kenya and now everybody is taking a portion of you and you don't know the way. Like for me, I was away for 12 years, so I didn't know my east or west. Yeah. And so innocently I'm giving everybody, thinking that they don't have money. But after that, they look at you and they say, look at this one. She came from America. So now you are broke. Nobody want to help you. Nobody want to stand with you. That's the reason why I looked at myself. I said, let me go back to America again and work my way out, because I still have this, the street children, the medical mission that I've committed myself into. I have committed myself to the street children that are looking at me like their mother, because they have never seen somebody loving them so much, sitting down with them in the street and feeding, we eating together. I would cook and we would sit down and eat together. And so they have taken them like my children, and they have taken me like their mother. And here I am, I've run out of funds. So I decided to come back to America. And because in America you can raise funds, to see if I'm able to raise funds.
Are you ready for the Diaspora Live Show launch and stage tour? Live from Delaware, from June 6 to 26 September, we'll stream live from 20 different states and cities. From Boston, Baltimore, Atlanta, Montreal. Come and get informed of the different investment opportunities from Kenya. More info on the Standard Digital Videos website. Diaspora Live Show, every Saturday at 7:40 p.m. on Standard Digital Videos platforms.
Pauline, we are lingering on this question of parking one day and moving back at home.
Yeah.
Because it affects so many people. Many people are doing that.
Yeah.
We've seen many have packed up and gone. Some have settled, but majority of them come back because for most people, especially the people who left Kenya a long time ago, their mental picture of Kenya is very different.
Yes.
Things have really changed in the last 10, 15 years ago. And they find it very hard just to settle back at home. In your view, again, I know you've answered this, but what makes it so hard for Kenyans who decide to go back home, either to do business or to do charity like you did, to settle back at home after living away for a long period of time?
These are, I'm talking like my age, but they are also, the people of my age is the challenges that they face of the roads, of the theft, and the little things, and the people around them, just everybody trying to rip you off. And so you find yourself like in a position where you cannot sustain yourself. And also, you love your country, you want to stay with your people, but the environment sometimes becomes hostile. And this is the people of my age. But there are still these young people who finish school with the mind of going back and giving to the community, giving to the country what they have learned in this country. And so they learn and saying, if I take this to my country will benefit much. And many, I have known young people, even my own son, have gone, he's doing his PhD in a very good degree, cybersecurity and criminal justice. And this is what the country needs. But for the last 2 years, he's been looking for a job with all these promises, but the government and the country, they are not giving them jobs. So these are reasons why even the young people, when they go to give back to the government, to the country, and give their knowledge and everything they have, they are not accepted. They are not taken seriously, and so everybody looks them differently, and so they don't give them the jobs, so they are not able to give what they have learned in this country to transform the country. They know if they give this, the country will change. But the government and the people around and the organizations, they don't give them jobs to do the job, the things they have learned. Even if they are positions, they refuse to give them. So this also makes the young people get frustrated and pack their bags and come back to their country and start working again in this country. So it is a lot of frustrations. There are many things that frustrate the people when they go back to Kenya. Not even to Kenya, even to other African countries, because you are looked differently.
Yeah, that's again, that's a recurring complaint from Kenyans who have tried to go back and found it so hard to settle back in Kenya or back at home, wherever it is, where they come from in Africa. Pauline, right now, you may have noticed, we have so many of these people, especially companies in Kenya, especially companies in real estate, coming to the diaspora, wooing the diaspora to invest back at home, mostly in real estate. There's some, I know you are involved in that because the last time I was in Kenya, we had an issue about land that I don't know if it was resolved, but for those ones who want to invest back at home, what's What would you tell them?
It is very good that we go back to our country and build our country. This is a dream all Kenyans have, because when we leave Kenya, we realize Kenya is one of the most beautiful places. It's a good place to be in, apart from the different things, corruption and all these other things that God is working through to finish, and also the government is working through. We thank God for that. But then we have so many organizations that come from Kenya, but their mind is to come and rip off the Kenyans in America. I've been a victim so many times. I've lost with other organizations. We form organizations, and then we buy land. Then, like the land you're talking about, which I'm also part of, you go and you buy land, and then people from there, they plan to take it away from you. So it has been a very hard thing to trust all these organizations that come from Kenya. The thing now we are opting into is getting straight to the bank, giving your money straight to the bank, and trying to do business, to do things for yourself. Because even when you buy land, we have bought so many lands, but every land we buy, there are people who want, you can't get hold of the title, even when things have gone through, because there's somebody who wants to keep of ripping you. So it is a very, very sad story, which we have been looking at the government to see what can government do to help the people from diaspora to invest back in the country without losing what they have made. It has been very frustrating. We have lost so much money. All the years I've been in America, every project that comes from Kenya looks so good and looks so wonderful. Even with some of them with men of God, which I respect the men of God, it is still some of them goes to the bush. You lose all the money. So this is very challenging, and even when you go to Kenya, it is very hard. I was in Kenya, we met with you when we were in Kenya for mission in August. You do things, you try to do things so that within a 2 weeks period, you can be able to set, even if it is a plot, even if it is a project, so that you can oversee it yourself. There is frustration because come tomorrow, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to leave it undone. It is very frustrating in our country. I hope there can be something or somebody who can say, for diaspora, when you have a short period of time, we can help you accomplish A, B, C, D, so that we can be able to enjoy our country. And when you go back in your country, you can say, I love my country, and my country cares about me.
Are you ready for the Diaspora Live Show launch and stage tour? Live from Delaware, from June 6 till 26 September, we'll stream live from 20 different states and cities. From Boston, Baltimore, Atlanta, Montreal. Come and get informed of the different investment opportunities from Kenya. More info on the Standard Digital Videos website. Diaspora Live Show, every Saturday at 7:40 p.m. on Standard Digital Videos platforms.